Hello. Let's talk about the flight department at your company, specifically the flight crew. These people assure your ride is safe and efficient when traveling. They consist of the chief pilot, the pilots in command, and the seconds in command. Your chief pilot should be a highly experienced aviator with thousands of air hours, in addition to having a positive yet uncompromising attitude towards safety and efficiency. The chief pilot makes contact with potential pilots through various sources, but most have relationships with other pilots they trust. From these sources, chief pilots get a feel for the work ethic, attitude, and nature of each candidate to determine a good company fit. It's important that the entire crew can collaborate in the operations while giving the passengers an on-time, uneventful ride. Because flight departments operate in all seasons and weather, pilots must be able to efficiently respond to unforeseen events like ice, snow, heavy rain, airport closures, and air traffic control delays.
The chief pilot has many responsibilities, but none more important than assuring your comfort and schedules are respected while keeping the operation absolutely safe. The chief pilot interviews staff pilots for hiring using a set of filters. Each has their own style, but the three qualities all corporate pilots should have are a good company fit, the proper FAA pilot privileges, and finally, the blessing of your insurance carrier.
Next, let's look at the FAA requirements to fly a light jet aircraft.
All crew members must have at least a commercial pilot certificate with instrument and multi-engine ratings and a high-altitude endorsement. These requirements can be obtained with as little as 250 air hours. Medical certification involves a physical examination that varies in frequency depending on the age of the pilot. The pilot in command must also attend and pass a training course at an approved training center, known as a type rating every 12 months for the specific jet to be flown. This ensures proficiency in the jet's systems and performance. The pilot is tested on systems malfunction and corrections both in oral and practical applications, along with aircraft handling in abnormal and extreme situations to assure they know how the aircraft operates and can remain in command of the flight path. It may surprise you to learn the FAA will allow a pilot to fly a second in command in a jet without obtaining the type rating training at the approved training center. The intent of the rule is to allow seasoned pilots who are qualified to fly similar jet aircraft to serve on your flight crew. It can, however, be misused as a shortcut for younger, less experienced pilots to join a flight department in some cases. Let's dive deeper into this provision. Second-in-command pilots must have a multi-engine instrument rating and a high-altitude endorsement to fly a twin-engine light jet. They must be familiar with the operational procedures, including the power plant, equipment, and systems, along with normal, abnormal, and emergency procedures. Crew resource management and a study of the flight manual, including placards and markings, must also be verified. Second-in-command pilots must then be given training and a proficiency check in the aircraft consisting of 3 takeoff and landings as sole manipulator of the controls, one of which is an engine-out procedure while acting as pilot in command. This is allowed to be done in-house, in your aircraft, and does not require the type rating training course. Although this may sound like a cost-saving measure, in reality, it can cost additional frustration, time, and capital.
In an all-weather flight department, these less experienced pilots can place a large burden on the pilot in command during high workload times. Lacking the training provided by the type rating, they must be instructed and constantly monitored to assure the inputs and communications are correct, while providing little or no input to the pilot in command as to hazards or concerns they are tasked with monitoring. Much like learning how to drive, less experienced pilots are still thinking about how hard to use a brake pedal, instead of simply driving to the store. A type rating course before they enter your flight department is the safest and most efficient way to ensure your entire crew is knowledgeable and proficient at operating the aircraft. This is why most well-funded flight departments require higher-time pilot candidates. If your chief pilot wishes to bring a lower-time candidate into the department, it's recommended they obtain the full type rating in your aircraft at a minimum. This simple investment helps the candidate and the flight department operate smoothly
The insurance carrier may have even more to say on the matter. Your insurance binder lists the named pilots, which are currently operating the aircraft. Pilots must report their flight experience hours and present a certificate to prove compliance with FAA requirements and the recurrent proficiency check, including oral and practical simulator training every 12 months. All policies allow contract pilots to fly your aircraft without reporting to the insurance carrier if they meet the minimum experience listed in the open warranty section of your policy. Typically, they require 3,500 total hours, including 2,000 hours in a jet aircraft along with 150 hours in the aircraft type they are flying in order to act as pilot in command. Second-in-command pilots can be required to have at least 2,000 total hours. These insurance requirements are a strong indication that flight departments should seek out more experienced aviators to occupy both seats of their aircraft.
There is no substitute for experience in aviation. Pilot error accounts for 53 to 69% of general aviation accidents, with inexperience amplifying risks in high-performance jets. Your flight department is designed to provide a safe and efficient travel experience for your most valuable team members. We encourage you to ensure the flight crew is up to the task, both on paper and in the cockpit.